first ever tank which had no chance to ever exist in game and is completely made by wargaming. I am Neil and this is my review of Tankenstein. Tankenstein is very interesting tank. It is a combination of few tanks, and in its original release time it was probably one of the hardest tanks to penetrate in the tier. Tankenstein as a tank have no history whatsoever, yet each component of it does have one. Turret is from KV-4, super heavy prototype from 1941. Hull is from Tiger P, the unsuccessful proposal by Porsche. Gun is either from a Russian battleship, which can be found on SU-100Y or ISU-130 in the game, or the gun is from T-29, American tank, which was meant to fight Tiger IIs. I don't think spending with history of each component would make sense, so I would conclude the history now, and we actually can find history of T-29, SU-100Y or ISU-130 on my channel already. In World of Tanks Blitz, this tank brought few new things to the game. While Tankenstein is made from, let's call them real tanks, it is the first ever fictional tank in the game. Tankenstein was achievable for free by doing probably the first ever hardcore grinding event. What was hardcore then isn't hardcore now, but for that time you really needed to play significantly more to get it for free. And let's start with what appears to be the hardest decision for this tank: choosing a gun. While checking only the gun stat shows the selection is only aspect of preference, but I think this assumption is completely wrong, especially on Tankenstein. Selection of the gun completely changes behavior of the tank, and while one can make it great, second one makes it significantly worse. So let's get into it and start with, as usual, with already mentioned gun statistics. Regardless of which gun you will choose, your DPM is still the worst in the tier. Out of all 54 tier 7s, this one have the worst DPM. The delivery of the damage is, on the other hand, pretty nice. 105mm gun have 198mm of penetration, dealing 310 damage per shot. And 130mm gun have 196mm of penetration, dealing 460 damage per shot. So 130mm give more punch, less often, and have actually even worse DPM than 105mm. But DPM is not always that important. If two Tankensteins would be trading shots and effectively penetrating each other, the one with 130mm would win without any question whatsoever. And all of this applies only to standard ammunition. The premium ammo have completely opposite behavior. While 105mm increases penetration and decreases the alpha damage, the 130mm increases the alpha damage and decreases the penetration. That means 105mm highest penetration is 245mm of premium ammo, and 130mm is still only 196mm on standard ammo. That also means if you will meet VK101P with commanders such having 210mm of effective armor, the 105mm Tankenstein can reliably pen the hedge, while 130mm is out of the luck and very likely to be dead. 130mm Tankenstein though should have higher DPM with the premium ammo, and it does, but only by 5% more than 105mm Tankenstein with the standard ammo. So I'd say 105mm Tankenstein is definitely more versatile and all in all better. Aim time and dispersion favors 105mm as well. Both guns have awful dispersion, but 105 is a bit better, and it's exactly the same as T-29 or the Little Mutant tank, and that's because they share the same gun. Aim time is also better on 105mm, and with that gun the Tankenstein is somewhere average. Okay, average, or a bit better than most of the heavies. 130 is one of the worst in the tier, yet it isn't the worst. I think you are still expected to stop and shoot rather than be moving during shooting. Major difference is a gun depression here. 8 degrees for 105 and 6 degrees for 130 millimeters. 8 degrees is what I would call tier 7 heavy standard. There are really only few heavies which do worse, so picking up 130 millimeters actually limits you where you can fight, and there are many places where you have to spend time fighting the gun depression while others can focus on shooting you. The conclusion from gun statistics point of view would be pretty straightforward. 105mm basically outperforms 130mm in almost every aspect of the gun. If you would pick 130, you are sacrificing quite a lot for a just little bit bigger punch. Moving on to the armor, we can't stop comparing the guns at all, because they have probably the biggest impact on the armor I've seen in the game. So let's start with 130mm. Let's start with what they share the same, and then what they are different. What is same, and now we have here, you can see the shape. This is a 130mm. The same is hull. 200 of armor here, 200mm in the front. When we angle it, well, that's for later on. So the front is 200mm, side is 80, so it's pretty good for side scraping. Rear is 80, so but that's all right. What's important here? The turret. You can see the front is basically round shaped. That means your enemy can always find that 150mm of effective armor, regardless of an angle. That applies also for the turret, yet if we shoot with 6 degrees of gun depression, you see this part is still pretty hittable without any issues. If we will go for 8 degrees, it's completely different and is way harder to penetrate it. Side cheeks, the cheeks of the turret, is 120mm, but the effective armor is 570. That means there is no way you can penetrate the side. Maybe here, this part, pretty nice weak spot, isn't it? 25mm, 170 effective, but all in all it will be very hard to hit here, so I would expect the cheeks to be basically very hard to hit. You can try to aim for the left one. Okay, so you see how small is the mantlet here. You have effective 300mm of armor, that's 130 of spaced armor and 170 of the standard armor, but it's pretty small, and everyone should be shooting to these cheeks, and always aim for the closest part of the armor, doing or penetrating always 150mm. But how it changes for 105mm, because 130 is pretty easy to penetrate. And yet here we are. And looks completely different from my point of view, because 105mm have the same gun as T29 and it have same mantlet. That means that's 279mm of effective armor, of spaced armor, and then you have additional 150mm of armor behind it. That means over 400mm of effective armor, and you see it is completely covered. That 150 is completely covered. Shooting these cheeks is basically unreal. And now the gun depression, look at it. The mantlet actually covers the turret even more, so you can't get 150mm anymore. The minimum one is 171, and you are very likely to hit the mantlet. If you go a bit up, you are already 239. So this makes it a Tankenstein. This makes it a fortress. You still have this small bit here where it's 150, but you will be scared to fight it. This is the safest position you can do with Tankenstein, but you can do it only with 105mm, because this already decreased. So because here we are. This is the minimum the best you can do. With 130, and this 105. There is no hard decision. What should be your option? 105 completely changes the playstyle of Tankenstein from being easy to penetrate to very hard to penetrate, and as such, and this is bold statement, it is almost as good from hold down position as T29, and yet it have even better armor on the whole. So I really like 105mm on Tankenstein for sure. And moving on to mobility, this is by far the slowest tier 7 heavy. 130mm cannon is obviously heavier, and as such it decreases power to weight ratio by 4%. This doesn't sound like a lot, but there is a big difference in perception of the speed. 105mm Tankenstein feels definitely faster than 131, and quite significantly. All in all, this is pretty good tank. Well, if you played with 105mm gun. If you play with 131, it might give you a giggle after a good shot, but it would never be as good as SU-152, and you really sacrifice a lot for a big punch. Not a bit punch. I enjoyed playing it with 105mm and will enjoy playing it even after with 105mm. I played even 130 and 105 feels much more reliable. It can really bully tanks if it's played well. So, and welcome to Naval Frontier. We are the bottom tier. Enemy team have IS-3, RU-251, STA-1, WZ-110, IS-2, Tiger-1 and Helsing. You might have noticed my whole team went for a C cap, which doesn't make any sense considering we are playing Supremacy and no one tries to cap a B as well, so we would be losing on points. I made conclusion as they don't see anyone. There might be someone in this bush spotting, traversing tanks from the left. And I was right, I hit RU-251 and I was hit probably by STA and IS-3 I guess. So, my team is capping C, I'm here, I'm going to try to do a blind shot on what I assume would be their tank. 181 sounds like premium ammo from STA-1. Standing here, we can see WZ-110 on the left. Luckily he missed, but we didn't. 297 damage. Lovely, that's the first known damage, including that 300 damage we did to RU. First bounce, we already bounced 935 damage. We are almost full health, and what will happen very soon will be one awesome situation. I'm here fighting WZ. Yeah, sometimes successfully, sometimes not, but you see IS-3 is coming here, and we know that if we will use our gun depression, we can increase our armor even more and basically hide our turret and even angle our frontal armor more. We just bounced. Lovely shot from IS-3. The sound was like a hit, I guess. Don't you think? It sounded like a hit. Another bounce shot from WZ-110. I'm still utilizing this small hill to improve my armor against 2 tier 8. And those are not bad tier 8. There we are, another bounce. Lovely, 2300 damage already bounced. IS-3 came to conclusion there is no real reason to keep shooting me, right? So 2675 millimeters, 2675 bounce damage, one lovely shot into WZ-110, and we are basically winning, even though we are not going to win this game, which is quite unexpected, but yeah. Lovely bounce shot from STA, and I came to conclusion like, look, WZ is low health slowly. Maybe we should push on him soon. Will he bounce? Yeah, he bounced again. He bounced premium shot. 260 means he tried to shot a premium shot and he still bounced. You see how good armor is on this tank if you angle it right. But then, flat surface, he can go in without any issues. And he probably will go in once again. Huh? Not anymore, sorry. 3160 damage bound. And we did already almost 3000 damage. There'll be another shot. There it is. That's our first kill actually. Only one kill. And yeah, we are losing on points. Enemy team have RE251. He should do what he should do. He should run away. He will win on a point. He will get a Kolobanov because there are 4 players which can't chase him down. We are too slow. So there we are. 3160 damage bounced. Lovely, lovely gameplay. And if you really utilize the gun depression, you can bounce even more, and you can, as you see, compete with tier 8 heavies. Sure, Luve should go in some point, but you can do. Waiting for results. There we are. Lovely mastery. 2979 damage done. We bounced, where it is, detail, 11 shots without damage. We did another 800 damage by spotting, and that's probably the reason why we scored mastery, as we earn only 50 points by capping. From Craig's point of view, you see mastery can earn you quite a lot. Without premium, 28,000 for mastery replay. I'd say that's not much. It's not like credit grinder for sure. So yeah, I like this tank. 105 millimeters makes the magic. 130 doesn't. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this replay and this video. If you do so, please subscribe to my channel and give it a like. And if you didn't and think the video is trash, give it a dislike. I hope I'll see you in the next video, and in the meantime I wish you great battles, loads of ammo boxes and ammo racks. That's the same. Ammo boxes and engine fires. Not yours, theirs. See you guys.